Hey, this is Vivian Campbell, and you are listening to Focus on Metal.
Focus on metal!
Hey, Metalheads, Scott here.
And Richie.
And welcoming you to yet another episode of Focus on Metal. And got a great guest this week. And interestingly enough, it is his fourth time on the show. And I actually forgot. He was actually the guy we had on for episode 500.
Yeah, the full career chat.
Yeah. And now here we are 50 episodes later.
Exactly 50 is
yeah. So and I, like I said, I completely forgot that we had him on episode 500. But yeah, this is his fourth time on.
Yeah, Vivian Campbell.
Yep. And it was funny because I was like, what am I going to name this episode? And this is why I even knew it was 4, because I went back. It was like, okay, we've already had an episode called Last in Line. Can't use that. We had one called Vivian Campbell. Can't use that. And then we had the one where I named it after the serial number of his Black Les Paul, which had no bearing on this week's talk anyway. So it's like, couldn't use that. It's like, okay, well, I got to come up with another idea, which I did. But
well, I don't come up with any of these ideas. You do them all.
This isn't a weird one because I actually have the show notes and the artwork already done before we were talking.
Wow.
And part of that is also because there's a certain timeliness to this, and I want to make sure that this like the one the other week where I did the fast turn for Joel. I think this is going to be another one where it's a really fast turn episode of you talking with Viv and me getting it out within basically almost 48 hours from you having the talk. So fast turn.
I have talked about doing that. We have been backed up before, and it can lead to trouble, especially when stuff is timely.
Yep. And
being completely honest with you, we had no audio. Once you ran the Matt Carp episode, I realized, shit, we have nothing.
Yeah, I don't know if I have something there might be something that I just haven't ever
in the way
worked
back
with. Yeah.
But that's in case of emergency, break glass kind of thing.
But this is now the advantage of that we pulled back syndication and we do them when we want to do them.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot easier, I think, with work life and everything else, that we're not really pinned to that, having to do it every week and have that extra layer of stress. And some of that also drives to whether we're going out and grabbing stuff or not. So sometimes things are good. Sometimes things get slow or things get shitty. So yeah, we just roll with it, right?
Yeah, I prefer that. I'm sure you do as well.
Yeah.
But we have some interviews in the can, and this was done. We're recording this on the 21st.
Yep.
So it was done on the 19th, wasn't it?
No, the 20th.
Oh, it was done. Oh, you see, my brain's gone.
Yeah, you did it. From again the day we're doing this. So yeah, you did it yesterday.
Oh, that's right.
You uploaded it last night.
That's right.
I've edited it this afternoon. I've done the artwork. I've done the show notes, and now we're doing the intro. And then I'll put it together and mix it. Tomorrow, and it'll go out either tomorrow or sometime Friday.
Good.
So yeah,
good.
So we're just kind of cranking through it, but. As Richie alluded to, again, this week's guest is none other than another fellow Irishman, Vivian Campbell.
Yeah, I asked for an interview with someone from Last in Line because a while back they announced the EP. I knew they were doing shows. I knew the PR person because she'd hooked me up with Vivian before, and for episode 5000, she was able to, hook me up with Vivian for an extended career chat, which was great. And I think I put in a request. I asked a couple of times. I wasn't really getting anything back, and it didn't bother me who I got.
Yeah,
I've spoken to all 4 of them before, so if I didn't get Vivian,
and we've had all 4 on the show. Even Phil, we had early on the show. Yeah.
So Vinny, Andrew, Phil wouldn't bother me who we got. And I thought it wasn't going to happen, and then the band's manager contacted me asking, on Monday, could I speak to Vivian tomorrow? And I was like, yeah, of course I can. So we did the interview. And he's just off the stadium tour. He does other things as well. He gets into that in the interview. Seems to be in a really good place in his life now. Well, you went to see the stadium tour and you talked about it on the show. I unfortunately did not get to ask him about the Fenway Park show. You said he looked really happy there.
He looked like the happiest motherfucker I've ever seen.
Well, that's that's his home show for him, isn't it?
Pretty much.
Yeah,
but he was
a lot of people.
But again, you've seen the band a lot. I've seen the band a lot.
Yeah. Tons.
You could not get the smile off of that guy's face. Every time the camera would pan over to him, he was just like this shit-eating grin on his face the entire night. I've never seen him look that happy, ever.
Good. Maybe because it was coming to an end, the tour. I'm joking.
I don't know. He just seemed really, really happy, like insanely happy. Yeah, it was good to see.
Yeah.
He just seemed to just be radiating this happiness thing, which was, like I said, I've never seen him like that. So it was cool to see.
I think that tour is going to go on. I think it's going to go abroad.
Great. Everybody gets to experience the wonderfulness of Motley Crue. God, fuck me.
It's money.
Yeah, no, I get it. Although I hate to admit it, Poison, actually, they did their good, solid, rock solid set, you know.
They're a good live band.
Yeah, and I mean, nothing to really write home about, but they did good, okay? I had wished that it had been the headlining night for Leopard so that we could see the longer set, but that was the next night that they did the headline. Yeah. But they did a good set, and also they played, I think, 3 songs off of Diamond Star Halos as well, which was good, although one of them was a slow one, and it was like, oh, please, no, not more slow ones.
This guitar, that one, the Alton Krauss one?
Yeah, so they did that, because they did the little separate, we're going to bring out the little drum and do the acoustic, and it was just, that part kills me. And then, obviously, Crew closed the show. I think we bolted out of there before the last 2 songs, and just their set was a freaking mess. It just was. It was not. I mean, granted, you have different front of house guys, band to band, but good God, Poison sounded solid, Leopard sounded solid, and then Crew comes on and they're just a muddy mess. When a song starts and you can't even figure out what the fuck the song is because the mix is so bad. So when Vince's croaked vocal clues you into, it's this song, or the next one, it's when Mick finally comes in and there's a guitar thing. But that's how it was for every song. It would be the bass was blaring, or every song was mixed bad, with one exception, and that was the song From the Dirt.
Was it windy? Because that can blow the sound. It was not windy.
No, it was still, and it was. If you remember that weekend, it was just hot as sweaty donkey balls. I mean, we were just all dripping in Fenway. It wasn't that at all.
Well, I think at this stage, Motley Crue are the one band that you need to have beers in you. I've seen Motley twice, and the only reason I went was I'd never seen him until I moved here.
Yeah.
And I think I saw him with Kiss, and they were on another package as well.
Yeah.
And I swore after the second time I saw him that I'm good.
Yeah. When we were walking back to the car too, I had actually said to Nikki, I'm like, believe it or not, I have heard Vince sound worse. And she just was like, are you kidding? I'm like, no, I've heard him sound worse. And that was on when he was out in Mansfield, and it was with the Vince Neil band. It was like, and yeah,
nail it in.
It was worse. But I mean, yeah, people were there. People were loving it. I've seen him a bunch of times too, and it just was like, come on, you put all this other stuff into the set. You can't bring it together a little bit more than you did. So yeah, overall wasn't that impressed.
Here's my take on bands like that at this stage. If you're being paid an extortionate amount of money, you have to do absolutely everything to be as professional as you can.
Right, and they had put, they had a big like intro movie, and it was kind of like they did this mock news thing, and so there was a lot of stuff that they put towards the show. But the one thing they forgot about putting towards the show was fucking practice and get the mix right.
Well, I'm talking about that, but what I'm also talking about getting the songs right, getting your vocals as best as you can.
Well, that's what I
Vocal
mean.
Coaching,
they didn't put
everything.
They didn't put effort into that. They put effort into the pretty girls on stage and them dancing and their background vocals and, like I said, all of the video things and all that. But the crux of all of it, which is frickin' music, they really didn't put a lot behind.
See, that's always a red flag for me now when bands say, when the bands just promote in interviews, the show. And I'm like,
right.
Yeah, the show, I'm interested in the show, but I'm interested to see how good ye guys are. Mm-hmm. You're masking stuff by promoting all that shit that's going on around you.
And I think part of it, we're a bit of an oddity in that we go to a lot of shows. There's a lot of people there that's probably was the only show they went to this year.
And they've been waiting to see that show for 3 years.
And will go to. So to their sense, they think, oh, this was great. And it's like, not really. It was kind of shite. And, but it's kind of that you have an easily impressed segment of like, oh, I went to go see Crew finally, like all of that. And it's like, yeah, okay. But they actually could have probably done better if they really tried.
Question for you now, and I don't know where you were sitting, so you might be able to answer this. Did you see a lot of people leave after Leopard?
No, I did not see a lot of people leave after Leopard.
Okay. I'm just curious to see if the word had got out about Motley, because the word was out, or I've seen it, that the other Poison were, to a lot of people, were the best band on that bill. And that Leopard were as solid as usual, but Motley were a bit...
Yeah, so I didn't see a lot of people leave. And yeah, we were...
It was a weekend, wasn't it, too?
Friday night, yeah. Okay. And we were two rows off the field, so we were fairly close as well. And yeah, I didn't see a lot of people leave. Okay. Yeah.
But you did.
At the end, yeah, I quickly brought up setlist.com and went, okay, we have, and this is what we're going to miss. We good? Yeah, we're good. And we were gone. And then we beat the crowd out of there.
The other thing that was noticeable about that tour, Leopard were really the only band promoting anything new. I know Motley had the one song out of the dirt.
Yeah.
But that movie's
that was
2.5 years
that was
old.
about it. Yeah, obviously Poison doesn't have anything.
And nothing. Joan Jett, I don't know much about Joan Jett.
They have it. She has a new acoustic record coming out, but having nothing to do with the stadium tour. But yeah, she actually does have an acoustic.
Did you see her set?
I did not. We purposely missed it.
And so there was another band on before her.
You sure?
Classless Act, or there was some band that probably paid to.
It was
open.
It was, if you remember too, that was the day where we had massive downpours first. So when we were driving in, and remember, I'm not driving in from here. I'm driving in from Worcester instead into Boston. And we weren't even sure if the show was going to be going on because you couldn't see, it was downpouring that much, and Route 9 was flooding. But when we did get in, it finally did clear up, and we parked further away too. I kind of have a little parking trick for Fenway, and so that we only paid $20 for parking. And yeah,
Fenway. And how'd you pull that off?
Well, you don't park right next to Fenway. You park where people don't think of parking. And there was some other woman when we got back who she was like, "Oh, well, I just did this by accident." I'm like, "No, this is the place." And she's like, "I can't believe I only paid $20 for this for hours." I'm like,
How much was it normally? 50?
Around there, you were paying anywhere from 50 to like $100.
See, that's the fucking problem with going to these shows now.
Yeah.
When you put in parking, price of tickets, beers, It's a fucking half a week's holiday away, you know, to pay for your flights if you want to go abroad.
Yeah.
You know, it's fucking ridiculous. Like, and I'm sure the beers in Fenway are probably 15, 16.
So we didn't even do that. We ended up, she grabbed a couple waters. I didn't feel like having a beer. It was like that hot. Yeah. It was just like going to be like, you were just going to feel crappy. So we just had a couple waters and that was it. And I think we ate beforehand too and shit. So we were fine from that respect.
Yeah,
we just kind of.
That's why I won't really go to any of these.
Yeah. We almost were going to go to the Yard House afterwards, but it was, again, I knew that within minutes that place was going to be packed, and this was easier to just get back, and we were out of there before, like, all the madness of people trying to figure out how the hell to get out. But
so you had Poison on in the daylight.
Yeah.
Okay. You had Leopard on in
partial daylight.
Daylight, because they have all the screens and everything going.
They do, yeah.
Behind them. Mm-hmm. And then you had Motley on in the dark. Now, how long is the turnover between the bands? I'm sure it ran like clockwork. Was it 15 minutes?
It was fairly quick. Yeah, it was fairly quick, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was the longest between Leopard and Motley.
Who, out of Leopard and Motley, who had the best stage show? Take the musicians out of it and the playing, that you looked and went, wow.
Well, Motley has all of, it wasn't the usual Motley kind of thing. So it just kind of had, it was like this, supposed to be kind of post-apocalyptic. So it was like red lights. And then they had these, what looked like just mangled iron sculpture things. And so, but there was nothing really moving or anything like that. So that was kind of
Make
their
Mars
thing.
Move?
Just barely.
As much as Ian Hill.
However, he did move more than he did move more than the guy who played Mick Mars in the Motley Crue cover band that we saw at Hairfest. Who the singer for that band had a excellent Fat Vince impersonator. That's what I referred to him the whole day, was Fat Vince. I'll have to show you a picture and you'll be like, oh my God, it's Fat Vince.
Wow. That's taking it too far.
But but the guitar player, Mick moved more than his impersonator. I think he moved more than Ian Hill does too. So yeah.
Okay.
Although Ian Hill does move his arms more, maybe not his legs more, because he does kind of put his bass up and down type of thing, and then he swings it, where Mick tends to just stay in one place, and then just shuffle. But I think from even though Leopard had a simpler stage show, I think that all of the video and everything that they had going was done better, so that when you had things up on the Jumbotron, and they were playing a certain song, like the way that the frames run around the images went to the songs and things like that. So I think from their thing, they put more thought into all of that and didn't really need to have much of effect things going on. And Motley just kind of went a different way, which was they had the girls that were going around and like I said, like the sculpture things, and that was about it.
It's interesting now that tour is over. Leopard had no drama, really. Mm-hmm. No, and Poison, and Motley had a bit. Mm-hmm. Fucking Tommy Lee taking out his fucking lad on stage, and then of course in the beginning of that tour you had, it's Tommy Clufetos. So there was a bit of drama there, but I think if you're middle aged now and you're going to see a Motley Crue show, you're not going to get anything that's that's going to fly by the seat of their pants kind of thing. They're going to be unpredictable. They're all wild. I'm like, these guys are in their fucking 60s now.
Yeah. Well, Tommy went out and he's like trying to get girls to show me your tits and all that. So he finally had one girl that finally did it. And I just kind of turned to Nikki and was like, yeah, I didn't need to see those. She just laughed. But it was, that was the kind of we'll spur the crowd up. I'll do that. But so that was, okay, some people were liking it. I've seen it before. Big deal.
I just find those things, a 60-year-old man on stage asking that now is pathetic.
And then the other thing I will note, I think I probably mentioned this to you before too, but you reminded me when you talked about Tommy Clufetos, was the same day that Tommy Lee had his rib injury. Our buddy James Kotak had his rib injury, the same injury on the same side to the same number of ribs. He continued to play on the tour every night for the whole show. And I actually hit James up too and was like, "Oh, gee, you didn't have anyone sit in for you, huh?" And something like that. But yeah, it was just interesting. Like, And hey, I understand. I've screwed my ribs up. It does hurt a lot. But it's like, I went and did what I needed to do, which at that point included a judo tournament that really almost killed me. But, I did what I needed to do. But yeah, like I said, it was all right. It was a good show for the most part. Was it worth waiting 2 years for? Probably not. But yeah, it was all right.
I have a friend of mine in Ireland, and he's waiting 3 years to see Ozzy with Judas Priest.
Yeah. I'm still would have liked to see Judas Priest because they canceled the last show that literally 3 blocks away from here.
Oh, do you know the Fozzy show that's supposed to be next month? That's cancelled.
Oh.
He's fucked up his throat.
Oh, yeah, and that's
the Lowell's,
2 blocks that way.
So any band that we like that's coming to Lowell, they're not fucking playing. Okay?
So, yeah, that's great. But, but at least, hopefully, nothing will happen 3 days from now when there's the Last in Line show at a great little club in Worcester.
Is it a bar?
It's basically a bar. So the reason I didn't get like the best tickets for this when they first got on sale is because we weren't sure if we were going to like the venue. So they are just getting into booking like rock bands. And so we went and we saw one of basically the only Aerosmith endorsed Aerosmith cover band we went to and to see Draw the Line. And we decided, hey, this is a pretty cool venue. And, Nikki talked to the owner because she talks to everybody, finds out they're just starting to book bands in. Most of what they've been doing is like having line dancing stuff on like during the weekdays and shit like that. So it's more been like a country bar, and they definitely need to enlarge their stage. But they're getting more into getting rock acts back in again.
Good.
So, coming up this Saturday, it's actually they've got Steven Adler's playing during the day and Last in Line's playing Saturday night.
Oh, I saw an ad for Steven.
Yeah,
I didn't know where it was.
A few weeks ago, they had, what was it? The weekend I went to see, Tesla. The same weekend I went to go see Tesla at Indian Ranch, they had Vixen playing there.
That's right.
So they've had a lot of bands going through, and they're trying to get better at that. And they're also trying to. They've got 2 bars in there. They really haven't been able to get the food thing going. So there's some restaurants around there, but they haven't had food there. They will allow you to have like Grubhub drop off, but that's one other thing they're working on. So it's like up and coming. So it'll be interesting to see how Vinny's kit and the rest of the band fits on their stage. Well,
they'll find out when they pull in on Saturday.
Yeah, but it's good. But it's a nice little venue, and you don't. It's weird. So it's the old. I think it's called the old Worcester Iron Works, and so you don't really see it on the front. It's a door, and you walk down this long hallway, and it's on the back side of the old Iron Works. So it's kind of like you kind of look and you're going, "What the hell is this club?" And yeah, it's just like this one door. And you walk down the hall, and then they've got a door after that to go in. It's fairly decent size, and like I said, it's a pretty cool atmosphere. Everybody seems to be pretty cool there. It's a very mixed crowd, and it's like I said. So we decided, this is pretty cool, like the atmosphere. The key is when you go there, and it's why I paid for early entry, is they only have a certain number of tables. So you get there for regular time, you're basically like standing all over the place. So it's like get there early enough, you get a seat, still can see, you can hear, it's great. And so so it's like I'll pay extra for the early entry, and then I'll have this. I think they got 3 bands on there. They got some little warm up band. They got another band, Bad Marriage, who opened up for Tesla, and then Last in Line.
Okay, well, hopefully I can go.
So it'll be good. I mean, again, like you joked to Viv about, it's almost like having a hometown gig, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, and the interesting other thing I thought about after I edited the interview and I walked away was, I wonder if Vivian's ever realized that he is living where Ronnie literally started. Because Ronnie was born in Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, he was born in Portsmouth.
I'm sure he is.
He didn't grow up there, but he was born in Portsmouth.
I'm sure he's been living there long enough now that he's aware of that.
Yeah. So I just thought that was interesting. It's kind of like he ended up where Ronnie started.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, whatever. But yeah, I think you had a great talk with Vivian and, covered a lot of things that are in there. I think you hit just about everything he's got going on. Threw a little other past history in there as well. And, I thought it was good stuff.
Yeah. I always like talking to Irish guys.
Yeah. And hopefully, if things will work out, and then I'll actually get to see you out there on Saturday.
Yeah.
Which would be cool. And you'll actually get to finally meet Nikki, too, after like 6 years.
Yeah. So. Do you know, just to finish, this month I'm 10 years on the show.
Is it really?
Yeah, look at all the grey hair.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
10 years.
Oh, it's good.
Must be doing something right.
Absolutely. Like this interview we're about to run, right about now.
Yep.
Is this Richie?
Yeah. Hi, Vivian. How you doing?
I'm grand, thank you. Sorry I'm a few minutes late here. I just got home.
Oh, you're all right. Yeah, you're in Portsmouth, are you?
Portsmouth area, yes. Indeed. Where are you at?
I'm in Lowell, Massachusetts.
Oh, Lowell, Mass.
Yeah, I'm living here 13 years.
Mm-hmm.
So when is the last time you got home?
I went back in Ireland for a week in March.
Okay.
Early March, yeah.
Okay.
And yourself?
I haven't been home since before COVID. I'm hoping to go early next year.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm eating in your ear. Here, I'm just wolfing down a bowl of soup.
You're all right.
I'm so hungry.
So how do you find living in New Hampshire? You like it up there?
I love New Hampshire.
What about the winters?
Yeah. I don't even mind the winters, we do a lot of jigsaw puzzles. So.
Oh, good. Yeah, it took me a while to get used to the winters over here. I didn't mind the shoveling at first, and then I got sick of it pretty quickly.
Oh yeah, I'm not good at shoveling. Yeah, we have a guy who comes and plows the driveway for us.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my wife is from New Hampshire, and she's very adept at shoveling snow, so she can do the pathway.
Yeah. Hey, now, if you're going to go home, can you go through Manchester, or do you have to go through Logan?
Back to Ireland, I'd go into Dublin from Logan. Yeah.
Well, Logan, they don't fly from Manchester, New Hampshire to Ireland, no?
No, gosh, no.
Not yet.
That would be too handy.
All right. I'll wait until we'll keep talking, Vivian, until you finish the soup if you want.
Give me 90 seconds and I will be 100% with you.
You're all right.
Whereabouts are you from exactly?
Waterford.
Waterford.
Yeah. Southeast.
Love it.
Yeah.
Brilliant. All right, Reggie.
Vivian, have you played in Waterford with Sweet Savage?
Did I?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay.
But I could be wrong. I don't know. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, I know.
But if we did, it would have been just the once, I would imagine,
Okay.
Certainly wasn't one of our regular gigs like Kilkenny or Dublin. Yeah.
Okay.
Soup finished.
We're good to go.
We are good to go.
All right. So, Vivian, I want to ask you about the Day in the Life EP that's coming out in November with Last in Line. Were there any other cover songs up for consideration?
Yeah, we'd started talking a year or two ago about wanting to do something that would be a little out of our wheelhouse, you know, something a little unusual, not something from our genre in terms of a cover. And we talked about, what about a Sting song? What about a Peter Gabriel song? What about this? What about that? And I'm not sure how we ended up on Day in the Life, because the idea sort of went quiet for a while and it didn't come up. And then all of a sudden, when COVID started and we had, we canceled a bunch of shows that we were supposed to play, and we're all just sitting around twiddling our thumbs, then I think it was Phil who came up with the idea to do Day in the Life. So we started working on that, and we had no particular time frame to get it finished or anything. So just nobody said, well, hey, this one's a bit difficult, maybe we should try something easier. But we figured we had the time to do it, so we just took our time and we eventually got it finished. Interestingly, it's the first time we've ever worked remotely as Last in Line. That's not normally our thing. So that's the only song that we've ever done that was started from start to finish was done entirely remotely. We normally like to get together in a room and see the whites of each other's eyes as we lay down tracks and stuff.
Now, you've of course done a lot of covers with Leopard, the Yeah record. So did that help in your approach to maybe handling this one?
Well, certain songs, with the Leopard thing as regards the Yeah record, certain songs we wanted to take a very different approach to. Specifically, I'm thinking of a song Rock On, the David Essex cover. We didn't want to do it like the original. We weren't going to put flutes and stuff in it. So we had a very different approach to that song. With other songs, we did them pretty much straight up, like, say, Don't Believe a Word by Thin Lizzy. With Day in the Life, it's the Beatles. It's a big one. You're taking on an iconic song by an iconic band. It's probably not wise to try and go toe-to-toe by just doing a complete duplicate of the original. So, we kind of came up with this heavy part in the middle and, tried to make it as different as possible and as relevant as possible to Last in Line without being entirely idiotic and disrespectful to the song.
Now, is there one guy in the band who's just a massive Beatles fan, like way more than any of the rest of them, or are they all huge fans?
No, I'd say we're all huge fans, but only one of us has ever met a Beatle, and that's Vinny Appice.
Yeah.
So when he was a kid, he actually got to go into the studio briefly with John Lennon. So so he has a legitimate claim to it. You know.
Yeah.
I do not. I was a huge Beatles fan, but I never got close to meeting any of them.
Okay. What other songs are on the EP, Vivian?
There's a couple live tracks. Devil in Me from our first album. That was the first single from the first album, Heavy Crown, and that recording is from Norway in, I don't even know what year, 2016, 17, something like that. The other live track is Give Up the Ghost, which was recorded when we played at the Download Festival in 2019.
Okay.
And the fourth track on the EP is a song called Hurricane Orla, which is from our new album. So, yeah.
So that song is going to be on the EP and the new album? It's not
correct.
An exclusive?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So what's the status of the third record? How much of it is done now?
It's all done. Yeah, the artwork's done. The record's done. We are compiling the credits and thank you lists for the record, which we have to submit within the next 2 to 3 weeks to the label. And I believe they're looking at a release for early next year, sometime in the first quarter, I think February or March. So this is our first record with Ear Records, the German label. Mm-hmm. And we're very excited about that. We think we made 2 very, very good records with Frontiers, the Italian label. Not so sure that those records were given a very fair shake. I mean, although it is difficult in this day and age to get music to people's ears, regardless of your situation and your record label or whatever. But, we felt we made two really, really strong records with Heavy Crown and the two album. And we certainly did our part by going out and promoting it and playing as many live shows as possible. So this is like a new era for us for various reasons. Number one, it's a brand new label, Ear Music, like I said, so a chance to start over with a fresh label. Unfortunately, our manager, Steve Strange, passed away pretty much exactly a year ago this week. That, of course, was a major kick in the nuts. But we have a new manager, a chap called Brian Coleman. We're excited to work with him. We also have a new agency in place. We're going to be doing our first shows for them in November. And so, yeah, it's all kind of like, after this hiatus of COVID and whatnot and the tragedy of Steve's passing and moving to a new label, it's a new beginning for us, really. So we're looking forward to that.
Do you guys at this stage, do you just go in and write songs, or do you talk about what direction the album's going to go?
In Def Leppard, we very, very much talk about the direction of an album. In Last in Line, we just go into the room and start playing. Okay. It's a very different approach. And in fact, the etiquette within Last in Line is that you don't bring songs in. You can bring in ideas, which is great. If somebody's got a riff or a beat or an idea for a title or something, that's fantastic. But, nobody comes into a Last in Line writing session and say, hey, I got this song. It's kind of like, save that for your solo album. That's why we, like I said, it's unusual for us to do a track remotely like Day in the Life, because we do like to grow our songs organically, by being in the room with each other and seeing just, what direction we end up in, and then feeding off that energy that you get when you're in a physical room playing loud rock music together with very capable musicians. It's very spontaneous and very exciting. Obviously, it was very different with Day in the Life because that's a very, very, very well-known song, so there's already a roadmap for how to do it, whereas when we're doing new and original material, we just like to kind of spark off of it. And, unlike Def Leppard, we're not looking for commercial success. We're not anticipating commercial success. We're a bunch of oldie hard rockers. So we're just kind of looking for the vibe.
Now, the upcoming tour that starts this weekend, can't be lost on you that the first show is half an hour from where you live.
Oh, it's a bit more than half an hour, but I won't be walking. Yeah, but that is convenient, yeah. And it's funny, I don't think of it as a tour because it's really just weekend. We're going out this weekend, we're doing 3 shows, and then I'm flying home. And then next Thursday, I'll be flying to Wisconsin to do a couple more shows out in the Midwest, and then I'll be flying home, and then a week or two later, we fly to California and do some more shows. So, I personally never think of these sort of things as tours. I mean, the shows for our new agent that I was talking about are in November. We have a solid 2-week run. So that's kind of more like a mini tour, so I kind of think of those in a different way. But yes, it is all part and parcel, I suppose. It's all semantics, how you describe it. But, yeah, it's exciting. I'm looking forward to getting back out and playing again. It's been quite a few months since I played with the band, and of course, in true Last in Line fashion, it's not like we're rehearsing or anything. We have a sound check for about 20 minutes, so that'll be like, hey guys, how you been for the last 5 months? 20 minutes to.
I was going to ask you that. How much band rehearsal have you actually done for this? And you just answered the question. No.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not like we're doing any new songs at the moment, maybe for that 2-week run in November, like I mentioned, we may start playing the new song Hurricane Orla from the EP, because it will have been released by then. But at this point in time, there's no real sense to be playing music from the new record because absolutely no one will have heard it. And furthermore, we don't have time to rehearse it. So it's just on a more practical level. I mean, I literally just got back from the Def Leppard tour.
Yeah.
What was it, weekend before last? And I've been gone at a rally all week. So I was only home for like 36 hours. And then I left to Pennsylvania to go drive in a rally. And I just got home Sunday from that. So I haven't really had time to settle down yet, you know. So
you brought it up there, the car rally in Vivian. Where does the love of that come from?
From Donegal when I was a kid. Every summer, you know, my family have a home up in Donegal, and I started going up there when I was 4 years old, and I spent every one of my summers up there. And back then, I mean, they now call it the Donegal International Rally, but back then I believe it was called the Circuit of Ireland, and it used to race through the Northwest, you know, and I used to love watching flying Ford Escorts and whatnot. It was always the most exciting form of motorsport, in my opinion. It was one of those things that, you know, I always thought, I'd love to try that someday, you know, and then your life takes a direction. In my case, it was music, you know, and that was my focus and always has been. And I'm always constantly working with Def Leppard and Last in Line, and always working during the summers and whatnot. But two things happened that led me to rally at this late stage in life. And number one was moving to New Hampshire. And number two was, the proximity of being close to a rally school, Team O'Neill, which is up in northern New Hampshire, and COVID, of course. So when COVID happened, you know, I was supposed to be going on tour that summer with Def Leppard in summer 2020. The tour was postponed. I had just moved to New Hampshire the year before. And, I've always been keen on cars and driving and stuff, and I track a lot. So I joined the local track, and prior to moving to New Hampshire, I lived in Southern California, where you can drive 12 months of the year because of the weather. But out here, once I'd moved to New Hampshire, I realized very quickly that, you know, 6 months of the year, your cars go into storage. So I was very crestfallen having to put my cars into storage and watching the track be closed for 6 months. And I did a little research online, and I realized that Team O'Neill was 2.5 hours from my house. So away I went and did their 5-day rally course, and it was the most fun I've ever had in a car. And I did that. I did the course for the first time in December 2020. And then I went back in January of 21. I went back in February. I went back in March. I went back in April. Wow. And then they said to me, you know what, why don't you just go do a rally? So then I started entering rallies. So I've been doing, it hasn't been that long. It's only been, my first national rally was the New England Forest, which is the local one here up in Maine. I did that in summer last year. Also had my first rollover crash in that event. It was going a little bit too fast. And then I've done a bunch more since, nationally across the country, anywhere from Seattle to Michigan to Missouri. And the one I did last weekend was done in Pennsylvania. So, yeah, it's been great crack.
Are we talking... So it's just you in the car, Vivian, and what speed?
Oh, no. It's forest rally. You do it with a co-drive. You have a navigator telling you what corners are coming up and whatnot, and the distances. So, what speed do? I mean, my car is not like one of the top spec rally cars. So my top speed is right about 100. Okay. You know, but 100 miles an hour is very fast on a single track road in the middle of a forest. You know, it seems a lot faster. Yeah.
Okay. So one of the things you have a willingness to do is you go from playing stadiums with Def Leppard to playing small clubs in the same area soon after that's coming up. And to me, that's something that a lot of musicians won't do. And I think ego's got something to do with that. So where does that willingness come from with you?
Because I really, really love it. I don't love sitting for 6 hours in a Sprinter van. I don't love eating cheese sandwiches every day. I don't love staying in the Holiday Inn Express. I don't love flying on Southwest Airlines. As much as I do appreciate Southwest, I don't enjoy it. But I do love the hour and a half or so that we're on stage playing together, you know, and that's it's a real challenge for me as a guitar player to continue to do that. You know, it makes me a much, much better guitar player when I go back to Def Leppard. You know, it just keeps me sharp. And I'm certainly not doing it for the money, you know. Yeah. But yeah, it's fun. I mean, there's times when it's not fun. Like I said, it was 6 hours in a Sprinter van, you know, and your ass is numb, you know, and you think, what the hell am I doing, you know? But the other thing is, you know, the schedule with Last in Line is always pretty intense because we really can't afford the downtime to take days off in between shows. So we tend to do a lot of consecutive back-to-back shows. So it keeps it busy. But
as well as that, Vivian, you probably don't have your days mapped out as much as you would on, say, the stadium tour, where, you know, everything is mapped out to the minutiae. You're doing these interviews, you got to be here, you got to do this.
Yeah, well, we have a lot of help with Def Leppard. I mean, obviously we've got a really great crew, and you know, we have a lot of people to help us. With Last in Line, we have one guy, Mark Webber, Super Mark, we call him, and he drives the van, he sets up the gear, he collects the money, he arranges the meet and greet, he takes the photos. He's just unbelievable. So, yeah, it's a very different experience all around. But you know, I get to see both ends of the spectrum, you know, like that with Last in Line, and you know, the coddling of stadium tours with Def Leppard, you know.
That keeps you grounded, I'd say, does it?
I think you're absolutely right there. It certainly does, yes. Yeah. It certainly does. I mean, it affords me a lot of perspective, you know. I have a real appreciation for where we are in our career with Def Leppard, you know, but I think that's true of everyone in the band. I mean, I don't think you need to go out and play clubs necessarily to see that, but yeah, it kind of helps. But I mean, I do it because I love it. You know, I always wanted to play guitar like that. It's always been a passion of mine, and it's fun to do. It's something I do well. Yeah. I enjoy doing it.
Now, one of the things you told me in the past was that Def Leppard aren't like any other band you've ever played with. Can you give me some specific examples to expand on that?
There's just a great work ethic in Def Leppard, you know. It's not just about one aspect of what we do. It's across the board. I mean, whether we're writing songs or the work and the effort that goes into recording them, or the live show itself and the thought process that goes into that, the level to which we rehearse, the level to which we prepare for each and every show, and you know, just the professionalism, the work that we put into staying physically fit, you know, and just making sure the wheels don't come off the wagon. I mean, it's beyond anything that I've ever experienced in the industry with the other bands that I've been, and indeed with other bands that we've performed with and toured with. You know, there's just a whole different level to professionalism within Def Leppard, and there's a lack of individual ego in the band too. There's a collective ego and pride in what it is that we do, and I see in other bands that there's usually clashing individual egos that cause conflict. In Leopard, we've never allowed space for that kind of stuff. You know, I think anyone who ever had a tendency to behave that way or to let their ego get in the way of the greater good of the band would never have been allowed to join Def Leppard.
You know? Is that true that you all still share the same dressing room, and there's like a great friendship amongst you guys?
There is, yeah. I mean, it's not like, you know, we're camping buddies. We go off on camping holidays together and wear matching pajamas. I mean, it's, you know, it's not like that, but we all like each other and we all appreciate each other and respect each other, and that's important. You know, within the band, obviously there are certain friendships they're stronger than others, as you'd expect. But it is something that we take pain to do, is to make sure that we always share a dressing room, and nobody else, like absolutely no other band that I can think of our genre, of our generation, that we've ever been on the bill with has ever shared a dressing room. I mean, they all have their separate things. They all travel separately and stay separately and have separate dressing rooms and stuff, you know, because you go in there and you spend, you know, we're usually at a venue from 3 or 4 in the afternoon. We spend several hours together in the dressing room. We're always doing vocal warm-ups, and it's a way of keeping connected, you know, and maintaining that kinship and that bond that's important for a band.
Now, the new album that came out, Diamond Star Halos, I personally loved the variation on it, but how disappointed were you that you weren't able to write for it?
It's my own fault. I was just caught off guard,
Yeah.
Between one thing and another. I just wasn't prepared for it. And then when it's all of a sudden, spring of 2020, I was getting ready for the stadium tour, and all of a sudden, we're not going on tour. Okay, fair enough. We're making a record. Okay, and we're doing it at home. So that meant I was well behind the technology curve. I spent most of my time just playing catch up on the technology, just trying to figure out how to get a guitar signal into a laptop, into some software, So it's my own fault. But I got plenty of songs, plenty of song ideas. There'll be other opportunities,
Okay. I just have a couple of questions before I leave you go, Vivian. Were you aware that Holy Diver was certified double platinum this year?
I was not, no.
Okay. Do you still have any of your gold and platinum albums?
No.
You don't? You don't keep any memorabilia at all?
Well, I was never... the very first award I ever got was a gold certification for Holy Diver. And, obviously it was made out to Vivian Campbell. My father's name was also Vivian, so I gave it to him.
Okay.
And he hung it on his office wall, and it was a great conversation starter when people walked into his office, So he had more use for it than I did. I mean, I just... It's never been the sort of thing that I ever wanted to do, was to hang an award on my wall, But I have some somewhere. I mean, I've given an awful lot of them away over the years. I've also moved a bunch of times over the years, so you don't know where stuff is. But I know I have some of them somewhere, but they've never been on my walls. Okay. Still, it's nice to get them. I haven't said that,
Yeah. And have you heard the remix of Holy Diver at all?
I have yet to hear that.
Okay.
I've heard a bunch of mixed reports, so I have no further comment till I hear it.
Right, final question from me. Did you play in Slane Castle in 81 with Tin Lizzy?
Yes, Sweet Savage, my first band, we were the very first band to play the very first Slane Castle festival. We opened it.
What are your memories of that?
It was brilliant. I mean, absolutely brilliant. We were massive Thin Lizzy fans. We'd done a bunch of shows with Lizzy before. It was a beautiful day. The weather was spectacular. It was a beautiful venue, obviously. It was absolutely fantastic to be able to be given that opportunity to play in front of so many people on such a special occasion.
Did you get to meet any of the other artists on the bill? Because you two were one of them. I think Rose Tattoo, Hazel O'Connor.
That's correct. And the Bureau, which was the remnants of Dexy's Midnight Runners, were the other act that were on. But no, to answer your question, we didn't get to meet anyone. No, we were pretty much in and out. Okay.
So do you want to give out the social media sites where people can get in touch with the band, Vivian?
I don't know what they are.
Don't worry, we'll do it on our end.
They exist, but I don't do social media, so I'm not.
You're probably better off.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so I'm planning on going this Saturday to the gig in Worcester. Yeah, so hopefully I'll get back to say hello to you.
Yes, please do. Come back, say hello.
I'll get in touch with the manager and see if he can arrange that for me.
Sure, ask a grown-up.
Yeah.
It's all good. All right, Reggie.
All right, Vivian, nice talking to you again.
Yeah, you be well.
Yeah, take care. See you the weekend.
Bye.
Right.
Well, this episode actually ended up being a little bit longer than I was originally thinking. I was thinking maybe it was going to be kind of a 30, 45 minutes, one and done, but here we are pushing an hour. So a little interesting. But anyways, hopefully you guys are going to be able to go out and catch Vivian and Last in Line on their 2022 U.S. tour. If you want to check out all the dates, you can go to lastinlineofficial.com and check all those out. There is, they're kicking it off the 23rd. Laconia, New Hampshire, big biker place at the Big House, and then the show that I'll be at, which is on the 24th at Rascals in Worcester. Then they kick it out to Pennsylvania. They're going through Milwaukee and into Michigan, doing some stuff in California, back to Wisconsin again. Holy crap. Viv was not kidding about spending a lot of time in a Sprinter van. Illinois, Ohio, Pennsylvania. Oh, they are going all over the place. Again, want to check out all of the dates, which they're touring in support of their new EP, A Day in the Life. Then go to lastinlineofficial.com. And I should also mention that there are VIP packages available for some of those dates. So if you want to get in on that, then definitely you want to get in on that early. And from lastinlineofficial.com, you can also go over to the merch shop, which is vinnyappice.com/lastinline. And they've got all kinds of stuff up there. They've got their, your Corona Master there, snapback caps, tote bags, patches. They've got some new T-shirts up there as well. Pretty cool skull T-shirt they have up there. Some of Viv's picks are available. And they got a pretty decent whole thing for Last in Line up there, including some brand new stuff. They got a nice Circle logo tee that's actually pretty kick-ass, beanie, all kinds of good stuff. And again, if you want to get any of that stuff, best thing to do is go to lastinlineofficial.com and get all of that good stuff. And then obviously, since, Viv doesn't do social, which I freaking don't blame him, you can also hook up with them on Facebook, which is facebook.com/lastinline. On Twitter, it is Last in Line. The old Instagram, Last in Line Official. They got the YouTube channel going. Hey, guess what? It's Last in Line. And they've also got it up on SoundCloud. SoundCloud is soundcloud.com/lastinlineofficial. Spotify, well, hey, you know what? I'm not even going to try to go through this whole link on this one, but if you go up to lastinlineofficial.com, go over to the menu on the right-hand side, which is Connect, click there. You will get the Spotify link and actually every other link that I just talked about. And obviously, get your iTunes link for them up there as well. And while we're at it, might as well cover the social links for the Mighty Def Leppard as well. And the main website is, of course, defleppard.com. That is definitely pretty easy to remember. And they, of course, do all the social media as well. Like I said, facebook.com/defleppard. Twitter.com/Def Leppard, Instagram, guess what? It's /Def Leppard, YouTube channel, Def Leppard Official. So all kinds of good stuff there. And again, if you possible, then go ahead and sign up for the newsletter. And they've got all kinds of good stuff happening there as well, especially with the release of the new one, Diamond Star Halos. So again, there you go. There's all the links that I can't blame Vivian for not wanting to deal with or remember or anything else, because honestly, to be able to spit them out to you, I had to look them up too. So that's it for this week. If you are going out to the show in Worcester, then definitely hope to see you guys there. And if not, because you don't live in Massachusetts or New Hampshire or whatever, definitely go ahead and check Last in Line out live. I mean, come on, that's going to be great to see the original Dio band. Doesn't have Ronnie, but Andrew Freeman, guy is one freaking hell of a vocalist. He is bringing it, and so you get some great stuff off the album from them. So go out, catch this tour, good stuff. In the meantime, just you can go back, you can go to focusonmetalpod.com, check out our past episodes, check the other 3 interviews we've done with Vivian up there. They're all there. Just go up in the search bar, do Vivian Campbell, boom, those 4 will come up, and you can listen to all those as well. And as for next week, I think as of right now that I think we will be putting out a show next week, and it will be with another frequent guest. That would be the one and only, also with a relation back to Dio, Doug Aldrich. But for this week, that's it. There ain't no more. Stick a fork in it. This puppy is done. So for Richie, myself, and everybody else here at Focus on Metal, have yourselves a great metal week. And until we talk to you again next week, as always, remember,
Focus on Metal.
Everything else is insignificant.
It's over. Go home.